For years now, kids of America have been freeloading off the government by eating school lunches, in fact, free school lunches. But Georgia House Republican, who, by the way, until very recently represented the wealthiest area in Georgia, wants to put a stop to that. Let's go ahead and play the clip, and he'll explain how 12-year-olds are living high off the government.
You're telling me that kids who stay at home instead of going to work at Burger King and McDonald's during the summer should stay at home and get their free lunch instead of going to work? I think we need to have a top-down review.
You're painting a
think
lot
about
of these
where
kids with
need
a
to
broad
actually
brush.
be. When you talk about
think of where these kids actually need to be. Now, if you look at the face of this host right here, perfect. She's like, what the hell are you talking about, man? 13-year-olds working at McDonald's, 12-year-olds working. Like, what are we talking about here? We are talking about child labor laws as if it is a negative in terms of working is like a preteen. It's absolutely absurd. But here we have another classic example of Republicans not really caring about kids, because they always talk about how they got to protect kids. We got to make sure that we do the best for them. Oh, and by the way, 13 years old under that. Oh, yeah, go ahead and work. You shouldn't be getting free lunches. You are living off the government. Get a job, 12-year-old. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? And he also gives himself wiggle room because he says, oh, high school. But then he goes and says, oh, before I was 13 years old. So before you're 13 years old, high school, something isn't quite right here. But Republicans have had a long history of attacking school lunches. It's not even the first time that they've done it. Multiple areas in the country has done it. It's one of my favorite examples is North Dakota. The GOP boosted their own meal allowance after taking away free school lunch for kids. So here we go. Republicans in North Dakota are facing criticism this week after they voted to boost their own budgets for meal reimbursements, even as they blocked an expansion of a free school lunch program for low-income students. And who could forget my man, the turtle himself, Mitch McConnell, who went around to make sure that kids in Kentucky do not get free school lunches. It has been something that Republicans have been targeting for a very long time. And as I've said before, they don't really care about kids because part of getting a good education is making sure that you can focus. And it's really hard to focus in class when you're hungry. But do Republicans care about that? No, of course not, because it is part of their agenda for the longest time to do stuff like school voucher programs to private schools, to take more money out of public funding for these public schools. And when these public schools inevitably fail due to lack of funding, because most in part they rigged it, they go, oh, look at that. Looks like these public schools aren't actually good. And it funnels more money into the hands of private institutions, which is what they want all along. They've been wanting it for years. And it is another part of the Republican agenda because they have had an attack on education. And it is absolutely insane. It is more about power, which is why they are so hardcore on abortion, to the point where you have women in red states giving birth to headless fetuses, bleeding out in bathtubs. And they are for the rich, which is why they love the idea of underfunding public schools, as I just talked about, to let the money flow into private ones. It is the exact same reason why you see Republicans always keen to cut social programs, because they want to have that money allocated to do tax cuts for the wealthy. Donald Trump, once again, has already admitted that he wants to make life better. He wants to make life better for people like Elon Musk. He's already talked about this before. And what are they going to do with this money? They're going to sit on it. They, in fact, don't create jobs. They, in fact, most of the time use it to buy stock buybacks. And they go to Miami so they can buy some overpriced fish that they didn't quite like when they got it anyways. Here is another classic Republican take here.